Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Yo, 1090 Jake and Wack 100 go at it about Kodak Black's paperwork and him in the interrogation room. If he's ratting, Wack 100 said that he's not ratting because it didn't say that in the paperwork. 1090 Jake is saying it said it on the tape, so that supersedes that. I feel it's time to weigh in on this because a young man named Jack Boy called in to 1090 Jake, and he said that he wanted to know how this thing play out and the rules to this. So I'm going to weigh in on this. This is not to disrespect anyone because I respect both Wack 100's mind game and 1090 Jake's journalism and his mind game, because that's what it is. Let's begin this, then we're going to get to this. All right? All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm getting ready to react to this joint here because I saw 1090 Jake do this joint. I like the way he did it. He brought it up that Wack 100 said that dude wasn't hot because of the paperwork, and 1090 Jake saying that he got the video, so he's letting it be put out. He's going to lay out more footage on that in a minute. So I contacted my man CK because I don't like doing reactions without responding to the men. So I called CK. You already know Corey King. Had him reach out to 1090 Jake, talk to his assistant. So I'm doing the video. But first of all, I want to give him a round of applause and Wack 100 a round of applause. Because they've been talking. Relax, yo, relax, 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 relax. They've been giving out good jewels to the youngins. So we're going to ride right into this. All right.
But 1090 got to break it down for me so I can understand more. You hear me? But I won't give a Jesus himself come and say, like, boy, you ain't do nothing wrong. Boy, if that was a serious charge, you talking about this and that, but your ass would have told some.
All right, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've made a hell of a reputation when it comes to exposing people, exposing rappers, getting paperwork, whatever. But my word is not above Jesus. Okay. I appreciate the respect he's showing, but I'm not on that level. But let's see what else he has to say.
Say where you get that video from. Somebody sent it to me. Somebody sent it. I'm like, what? But the only reason I'm like, damn, this shit, wow. I kind of knew of that case too, but I didn't know like behind the scenes how you ripped it. Then when I seen you say, I'm like, damn, you saying real things. I'm like, yeah. Ain't go to trial. Of course I know that. Of course I know the people ain't get convicted. Moeezy, him out here. But it's like, hold on, damn. No wonder every time I get locked up, police be knowing all type of extra details. Like, y'all be in that bitch saying street names. Y'all be in that bitch saying this, where stay at Golden Real Deal, stay in Hollindale.
All right, so before 1090 Jake go, hold up, Jake. Yo, check this out, right? Before 1090 Jake go, right? I'm going to just say this. See what the young man said, and that's why I decided to weigh in on this, because the police didn't actually know these people's names until they was mentioned in the interrogation room. So that's how that goes. So we're not even speaking like we're speaking directly for Kodak, but it's dealing with this situation. If somebody go in the interrogation room and you got 10 brothers and they out there, they doing their thing on the street, and one of them get caught, but they the ones was raising havoc in the streets know about it, but the peoples don't know about it. One get caught, and then he say, yeah, I was with this one, and this one. It don't matter what he say after that, because now you don't brought up names to bring the people onto them, to bring them onto their radar, so now they can start watching them, investigating them, and things like that. So that's why you don't say names. But now let's take a ride. Because I'm an old timer, right? See, back in the days, you know, the police, like in the boroughs, they didn't go to different boroughs. So if you got in a situation in the Bronx, you could really go hide out in Harlem, and you ain't got to worry about the police coming over there to come get them, right? And if you got something in Brooklyn, you can come hard out in the Bronx. you know, and they don't come get them. So if you got arrested in one of those boroughs, let's say you driving down the street and, you know, police pull you over and you got whatever, you know, they say, well, where'd you get it? You say, you know, you're in Brooklyn. You say, I got it from Harlem. You know what I mean? Like, go to Harlem. You know, where you gonna find it? You know, go find a spot in Harlem. You know what I mean? We know they're not going out that jurisdiction. So that's why we'll shoot them out the jurisdiction. You know what I mean? But nowadays it's like they mixing all that together because they got joint forces. So now you'll say something like you riding in Jersey and you get pulled over, you know, with something in the car, you'll tell them, oh yeah, I got it from New York. So once you say you got it from New York, that deads the investigation of that because they're not going to New York. You understand what I'm saying? Unless it becomes, you know, something federal, but then nothing else is being said other than, man, I got it from New York. I don't know who I got it from. I don't know where I went. You know, I mean, I just took the bus over there and, you know, walked around and I found somebody. I don't know what block I was on. I just know I was in New York City. So y'all go find that block in New York City. So that's how it is. And then another one, right? Let's ride again. Now, I've seen dudes get, you know, murder charges, right? And they had like females or, you know, they homeboys go down to the police station and say that, oh, it was a tall dude, light skin, when the dude was really short and dark skin. You know what I mean? So what you're doing is you're throwing off the investigation, you know, and a lot of that is what, you know, Woody's intentions was. So that's why I understand what little Woody was doing, you know what I mean, when he was getting picked up. But every time he mentioned a new name, it started a new investigation. It gave them somebody else to investigate and gave another officer a job to go investigate that person because each one had like maybe 3 or 4 out of all them hundreds that they had down there. And that's the way that works. So, you know, if I want you to understand that just by Kodak saying the name, and that is his man's name, whether it's his, you know, nickname, pet name, or his main name or his government name, you know, you just put the police on to him. Now, his man might not have gotten locked up for that case. But now if his man got caught up after that, the police got on him from him saying his name in the first place. But Kodak wasn't trying to rat, you know what I mean? And I understand he was young and he was trying to find his way out, but I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a second. But we're going to go through the paperwork because Wack 100 said the paperwork is straight. Jake, you know, 1090 said that the video speaks for itself. Now let's keep it moving. We're going to weigh in at the end.
All right, so this is interesting. So Jack Boy is talking about names that Kodak dropped in the interrogation. Moeezy goes by him N-word on Instagram. Golden apparently really lives in Hollandale, which is what Kodak told the police. So according to Jack Boy, Kodak's talking about real people, but Wack 100 and his team of Avengers or whatever they're called, the Exposes. Shout out to Wack. I fuck with Wack, but I don't fuck with Wack. It's one of those type of, you know, it's like the
you gotta love Wack's mind because Wack be breaking it down. I sit back and I listen to it. I think I might even still have the Clubhouse app on my joint. I got somebody to hook it back up for me because I got the new iPhone 17. But I used to like to sit back and just listen to Wack go because he break it down. He got the conspiracy theories. He know the ins, the outs. There ain't nothing that Wack 100 don't know. But then you got 1090 Jake, you know, that it ain't nothing he don't know about the street code, the law, and how to break it down and how it applies because he did time himself and he was on the street. So that's what that is. So that's why I like this video because it's a battle of the hood minds right now. But what we doing? We riding. All right.
Uncle that you don't like, that you try to box at every family event. Like that's how I feel me and Wack out. But Wack came out and said Kodak is good because his paperwork says he didn't say anything about anyone. So let's actually break down the paperwork, which is what I do best, right? So this is the first file right here.
Now, let me say this before we go any further, because this video might be a little lengthy, because I'm going to let the brother go ahead and say everything he got to say. But this paperwork, when you're talking about paperwork, you're talking about an officer writing from what they're dictated about. That means that this is what the officer got from what Kodak said. This is not Kodak actually speaking. In the federal court, this is called jinx because it wasn't signed or adopted by Kodak Black. So this right here, you could try and argue in court that that's not his statement. Not saying that he is, not defending him, because I know you rat bastard bastards and flip-flop wearing in public, trolls look for something to talk about. But I'm saying if it's not signed by the person and not written by that person, you know, then that's called jinx in the feds. You know what I mean? And then you got giglio, which is information that could, you know, impeach the witness. Then you got Brady material, that's information that could exculpate the witness, you know, the defendant. That means, like, you know, clear them. You know, if the government hold that back, that's an automatic prosecution misconduct, and they throw the whole trial out. But with the jinx, you could go at them for the jinx by the person who the statement is by saying, I didn't sign it, so I didn't say that. So that's what would be said about this in court. But the interrogation tape, that's a whole nother story. We're going to get into that. But now we're going to look at the paperwork. And remember, keep in mind, this paperwork is an officer writing down his interpretation of what was told to him by Kodak and his investigation.
Make sure it's nice and pretty for y'all. Y'all can see everything. All right. So Kodak got charged with a robbery, battery, kidnapping. Two of these kids were under 13. Damn. On the above date and time, the deputies responded to 15th Ave in reference to a kidnapping. Deputies met with the victim, Juan, who positively identified the defendant, Dyson Octave. So Juan told on Kodak straight up via a show up as the person who kidnapped and battered him. Okay, so the police arrive at the scene. They find Juan, and Juan points out Kodak as the one that apparently whooped him. A sworn tape statement was taken from Juan in reference to the facts of the case. He stated that the defendant chased after him, punched him several times, and then dragged him into a blue Audi against his will. Juan suffered lacerations, bruising, and now I gotta find the other paper. Oh, here it is right there. And swelling to his face, hips, and legs. Damn, Kodak whooped his ass. If you swelled up somebody's face, hips, legs,
he got slammed. Right,
so while deputies were on scene, several other juveniles approached and stated that the defendant and another person took them against their will. I spoke with Calvin. He stated that he was approached by the defendant and was told that if he didn't get in the car and show him who broke in his house, that he would physically harm him. So Kodak's crib got broken into. Kodak finds one of these jits, Calvin. And Yak pretty much told him, if you don't tell me who broke into my shit, I'm going to beat you up. Calvin said out of fear, he went into the defendant's vehicle. The defendant, without lawful authority, did forcibly, by threat, or secretly confine, abduct, imprison, or restrain Calvin, a child under the age of 13, without the consent of said child's parent or legal guardian. The defendant, without lawful authority, did forcibly, by threat, or secretly confine, abduct Marvin against his will by intimidating and threatening to harm him if he didn't cooperate with his demands.
All right, see, that's what I'm saying, right? Now, them saying that the dude just said out his own mouth that he got in the car. That's all you need to hear. And then, of course, he said out of fear. You know what I mean? Now, they didn't say, did you have a weapon? Did they force you? They didn't say under that. But what the statute of kidnapping says is that you have to force the, you know, kidnap, you know, wop, wop, wop. You know, you got to do all this in order to get him for that. You understand? But the young man said that he got in the car out of fear. But bottom line is a lawyer will eat that up that he got in the car. So that now, keep that in mind, because later on when it said that, you know, Kodak said that his man such and such put him in the car, but his man was never charged. That tells you right there why his man wouldn't be charged. And I'm going to bring that up again at that point further on in the tape, so you understand. They can't charge him if the man is saying that he willingly got in there. So I bet you any money that they broke it down from the kidnapping, because that's not kidnapping when he said he got in the car, unless it's something more that went to it than that, or more people, you know. But definitely had to be more than this just one dude, because he said he got in, even though he said he got in out of fear. Go ahead, Jake.
So Kodak beat up Juan, kidnapped Calvin, then he kidnapped Marvin, forcing them to cooperate. Emily stated that she was physically grabbed and forced into the vehicle against her will by the unidentified suspect. So this is somebody else that Kodak is with.
All right, so now that's the kidnapping. Let's see if that's the one that Kodak Black names. Pay attention.
But she identified the defendant as the driver of the vehicle. She said that she was told to take out their cell phones and turn them over. She said she took her phone out of her pocket and gave them to the unidentified suspect as he requested, because she was afraid if she didn't that he would physically hurt her.
All right, see, she said that she was forced to do this. So that's kidnapping by the statute. Let's roll.
Mark, another person, this is the fourth person. Mark stated that he was intimidated to get into the vehicle by the defendant by stating that if he didn't get in and help look for Juan, that he would be hurt. Okay, so Kodak ran down on Calvin, Marvin, Emily, and Mark looking for Juan, apparently. And when he found Juan, he beat the shit out of him.
All right, stop. So right there, dude said that he got in out of fear. If you notice, everyone is saying they got in out of fear except for the young lady. Remember that. That's going to come back in this conversation. The young lady said that she was forced in. There's a difference. That's kidnapped in. Everyone's saying they were scared because he was going to hurt them. Any good lawyer would say, well, how do you know he was going to hurt you? Oh, because I know he was a bad guy. Well, all right, so a lot of bad guys there. So do you think he's going to hurt you every time you see him? No, but then why would he try and hurt you now? Oh, because he wanted the information from me about who robbed this house. Oh, okay, all right. But you heard that, ladies and gentlemen, the jury. You know what I mean? He ain't never been scared of him. This is a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? But now the young lady saying she was forced, that's a whole different ball game, but we like to ride.
We already read that one. So let's go up. Two witnesses stated that they observed the defendant beating Juan, and then they saw the defendants push Juan into the blue Audi and take off. The witnesses gave sworn taped statements. The defendant's mother, this is Kodak's mom, gave a statement stating that she told her son to call the police in reference to the burglary and not take it in his own hands. She said that she observed the defendant punch Juan in the face and then she walked away. So she told Kodak to call the police because someone broke into his crib. And then she said she saw Kodak put hands on Juan. The defendant, Kodak, was positively identified by a show-up and photo lineups from all victims. Sworn statements were taken in reference to the facts of this case. Now, a search incident to arrest revealed the defendant was in possession of marijuana, which was field tested, blah, blah, blah. So Kodak was placed into an interview room, and he spontaneously uttered several statements saying that, I know I fucked up. I shouldn't have taken matters into my own hands. He also stated that he punched Juan in the face. Post Miranda, the defendant admitting to punching Juan several times, he stated that he knows what he did was wrong. The defendant added that he put Juan in the vehicle, but that others got in when he asked them to. The defendant stated that he doesn't know the name of his friend who was in the vehicle with him. Now, I'm going to be honest with you.
All right, right there, that was gangster like he's supposed to do. What he did, what I'm hearing he did is he claimed all the responsibility that I did it. But then now he said that, you know, he put him in the car, but the police excluded that out of it because they was obviously, you know, allegedly investigating this other kid for something else. So they didn't even put him with that because they know that that's not really kidnapping, because they said that dude, you know, they got in the car willingly and it was somebody else that, you know, the girl said that they forced in the car. But, you know, that's where that's at that I'm hearing it at. If you put it in the comments, somebody, let me know. Put it in the comments.
With y'all, right? Because reading this right here, Kodak is admitting to what he did.
Exactly.
And he's not identifying his boy that apparently did it with him.
But mind you, this is the officer's notes. So the officer chose to leave out the name of the person. Because my first thoughts when I saw this was that, okay, when was the written report taken and when was the videotape taken? Maybe the report was before the videotape and he didn't say who put him in the car until after. Now, it could still be that. Maybe this was before and that's what he told them. But at the time, he just stood strong, and you know, because right there is where you're sitting down, they just ask you a bunch of stupid questions, expect you to rat on yourself, and you start telling what you did, and you close the case so that you ain't got to get nobody else involved, which is what it seems like Kodak Black was trying to do. But when he was in the interrogation room and he got comfortable and he was reenacting the story that you're getting ready to see, he was in it, he was animated, he was feeling it, he was flashing back, and he just ordered a little too much, and then they pushed him and said, okay, you said you didn't do it, but who did it? And he's like, nah, I'm the one that hit him. I'm taking responsibility for what I did. But you just opened up to a kidnapping by saying that your man is the one that put him in the car. What's your man's name? He said, man, I don't know, but he's my homie. And then he turns around. You're going to hear all yourself. I just want to break it down so y'all can follow me, because I think 1090 Jake did an excellent job, man. Excellent, excellent. Round of applause again to 1090 Jake. Round of applause to 1090 Jake again. And I know I'm going to have a lot of haters and rat bastards and flip-flop wearing and public trolls. That's going to have a lot to say, you know? But get out of here with that crap. You know what I mean? Good journalism, good wisdom. Let's wake up the babies, man. All right? Because what we doing, we ride.
Which is flawless, right? Like this is what gangsters are supposed to do. This is what, if you in the streets, this is how you're supposed to, you know, I mean, he didn't really have to admit it, but everybody fucking said he did it. So he's like, yo, I did what I did, but I'm not telling y'all whatever. But what's crazy is paperwork is one thing. When you see something come out of somebody's mouth, it's an entirely different story. Now, obviously, I have the full interrogation.
Yo, he does
the full
his homework.
interrogation was like 4 or 5 hours, but I got out all the parts where he's like sleeping and shit.
Yeah.
And it came out to 1 hour and 39 minutes. Now, what's interesting about this, you know, I had put whatever these are called so y'all can see everything, right?
Timestamp.
The investigation, Kodak admits he hit the boy who stole his jewelry. Sheriff asked Kodak for DNA, yada, yada, yada. Now, it gets really interesting when it comes to the paperwork because Kodak names his friend. Kodak names Pito as the friend who put the victims in the car. Now, this little piece of information is important because it actually goes against what the paperwork says. The paperwork says he never identified his friend. So we're going to go to 10129 and we're going to actually listen to what this is saying. And y'all can hear it from Kodak.
What's your homeboy's street name or rap name? Huh? People.
What's your homeboy's street name? Matter of fact, let's rewind this a little bit so we can hear the context of the conversation leading up to this.
I did hear him. I'm wrong for that. Did you ask him? I ain't asked him about my stuff. I ain't straight up. I ain't just straight up hit him. I finished 100 times, but I ain't even really just gonna hit him like that. You know, I was asking about it, but I ain't asking about like, hey, where's my stuff? I asked about it like, you know what's going on? Let me know. You know how if you do something wrong, like we ain't really just gonna say, okay. You were saying no. Yeah, like no, like playing like no, but the way you acting with it, like he know you wrong. Yeah. And he was ready to run before I hit him like that. You know what I'm saying? But I hit him one time. I ain't even really want to hit him. But after I hit him, you hit him, did he fall? No. He fell after he was running. He couldn't catch himself. And then when I'm chasing him, he just like so nervous or whatever. And then he just.
You sound like Kodak popped the shit out of his ass. I ain't gonna lie.
He tried to catch himself. He could have caught himself, but he fell. I ain't hit him no more when he was on the floor. He was already on the floor. And people was on the street, all that.
See, right there, when he said I ain't hit him no more when he was on the floor, right there, he actually thinking in his mind that by him telling them what really happened, they're going to let him go home that night. And that's where a lot of your mistake coming in. You ain't going home the more you tell them. You going home the least you tell them. That's why they say shut the F up and don't say nothing. You know what I mean? But if you throw him on a wild goose chase and say he went that way, hey, you know what I mean? That's it. You know? And now they got to let you go because you ain't say nothing. I just see them go that way. You know what I mean? You ain't get into, oh, it was a tall guy, it was a light guy, was it this guy? You ain't do all that. Yeah, you was out there and he ran right by you. Yeah, but I ain't see he went this way. You know what I mean? And that's the end of it. But nowadays you always say, oh, he's riding. Stop it. Let's ride.
This day was a long day. It wasn't even, because how it was brought up to the attention.
After you hit him, you caught up to him.
We still had a long day after.
So you picked him up?
Yes, he was in the car. I put him in the car.
How did you put him in the car?
I ain't even put him in the car. My homework.
See, right there. Right there. What you got to say to that, Jake? Jake, talk to him, Jake.
Okay, so Kodak dropped the shit out of Buddy, who was apparently a minor. Kodak was 18 at this time. And hit him so bad, he had to get picked up. But this is interesting because the detective asked, how did you get him in the car? And Kodak is about to say he didn't do it. His friend did it.
Yes, he was in the car. I put him in the car.
How did you put him in the car?
I ain't even put him in the car. My homework put him in the car. But
see, right there is where he telling the truth, thinking that the truth gonna set you free, but not when you sitting in front of them people and you's a criminal. A conviction would set them free because that would help them move up the political ladder. So don't be their political elevator.
What's your homeboy's name?
I don't know what that is, but that's my homeboy though. He
You see, he's saying that's my homeboy, but I don't know his name. Right there, he's trying to say he ain't nothing to do with it. I'm the one that did it. He's trying to go back because he realized he slipped up. Right here, check it out. Look at this now.
hit him. I hit him.
See, right there, he claiming it.
What's your homeboy's street name or rap name? Huh?
People.
See, he just claimed it that he hit him. So being that he claimed it that he hit him, you know, he's thinking that I took it off and I cleaned up the mess I made by even saying his name. But the whole time they sitting back saying, yo, Joe, we go look into a guy named Pito out there. You know what I mean? And then now they watching him. So whatever happened after that, that's how they got hip to him because they didn't even know who he was. And you can see it from the videotape. Let's keep it moving.
So, yeah, he ain't know.
Okay, so this is important right here, right?
Yeah, talk to him, Jake.
Kodak fucked up. Kodak kept it real in the beginning, saying, I mean, not really, right? He just fucked up because he says, I put him in the car, and the detective asked, how did you put him in the car? He said, well, I didn't do it. My homeboy did it. Had you never said that, no homeboy would have been brought up, right?
Word.
So then he says, all right, what's your homeboy's name? I don't know his name. He's my homeboy. He didn't hit him. I hit him. So Kodak, you know, he's keeping it real. Like, the responsibility is on me. I'm the one that hit him. But the thing is, you're under investigation for a kidnapping. Kidnapping is forcibly doing something to somebody, putting them somewhere they don't want to be. The detective is trying to find out who your homeboy is because technically your homeboy helped kidnap this kid after you hit him in his shit. He says, what's your homeboy's street name? He says, Pito, something like that, right? Now, who he's talking about is this dude, Pito Burr, whose Instagram says 1800 block Golden Acre Project Sniper Gang. This is Kodak's man's right here. This is Pito.
Well, Pito is the one that could clear all this up, right? If Pito come forward and say that, you know, nah, they didn't pull me up for the case, and if Pito hasn't been arrested after, you know, that incident, because his name was put on their radar based on that investigation. So whatever happened after that, that could have came, you know, from that statement by him even mentioning his name, because now the detectives is going to go comb the streets and ask every little rat bastard and flip-flop wearing in public troll that they can find who's Pito. You know, so now they on Pito because he mentioned it in the joint. So if you want to call that ratting, that's on you. I'm not going to give opinion on that. You want it, let me know, put it in the comments, but that's how that go. Do you think that by, and this is to go in the comment, let's make sure that y'all understand this, right? Do you think that by Kodak mentioning Pito's name to the detectives, put the detectives onto Pito, and everything that happened to Pito after that is a trickle down of Kodak saying his name? Or do you think that Theo was eventually going to have his name brought up to the police anyway, if not by Kodak, by somebody else? Because you rat bastards look for anything to grab onto. So I'm giving you a straw to grab onto. You know, Pito was a screw up anyway. Pito would have been got picked up, but still he put him on him when he put him on him. When he put him on him, they didn't even know who he was because they never said nothing more about it. They never even put him in the paperwork. That's why the first paperwork didn't mention his name, because they wanted to rock him to sleep to let him think he got away with it. And that Kodak claimed that, and he's in the clear because Kodak already doing time for it, while the whole time they got a microscope on him. You see where I'm going at with this? That's why you get the real jewels over here, because this is a gangster channel for gangsters and people that want to know how a gangster think. All right, but that's where we at. So y'all put in the comments, man. Let me know real quick.
So Kodak apparently told the police clearly that Pito is the one that put the kid in the car. And I don't think Pito knew Kodak dropped his name in the interrogation room 10 years ago. So when Jack Boy is saying you gave real names, and I'm going to give y'all, you know, the rest of the names in another video. Jack Boy is saying you gave real names. And technically, Kodak did give up his homeboy's name. He just didn't give them the government name. You said the nickname, the street name, right? This guy still goes by this name, but his boy never got picked up for kidnapping. It's insane that the paperwork doesn't match the video. And I wonder how much paperwork I've looked up that it looks like they kept it real, but then when you actually get the video of what they're saying, it's a completely different story. Now, everybody is under the conclusion that he spun the police, and I plan on breaking all of this down. I want y'all to, in depth, see every name Kodak dropped, and if they're real names, if it's bullshit, whatever, because the street code, which is a fucking myth, says you're not supposed to drop any name, right?
But we're gonna let him ride.
Young Thug just got crucified, right? Boston Richie got crucified. But Thug seems to have a pass, clearly. I don't really think Thug snitched, you know what I'm saying? Personally.
If y'all want me to respond to how he broke down Thug's video, somebody send it to me at this phone number on the screen. You know, so I could look at it and see if I want to respond to that. But I'm just responding to this because the young man called in asking, you know, for some guidance. So I wanted to share the guidance. This wasn't to belittle, you know, 1090 Jake or Wack 100. Because like I said, I respect both of them and they both get a round of applause in my book. You know what I mean? All right. Relax, y'all. Relax, man. Relax. And like I said, I reached out to my man CK, aka Corey King, official brother from Brooklyn. I know from way back. So, you know, and he said he knew the brother, so he said it wouldn't be a problem me reacting to the videos. That's why I did it. That's why I put my number up there, because that's how gangsta I am. If it's something that I do, you want to respond to, or something you want to ask me, you don't agree with, want to give me my flowers, or just want to tell me F myself, call and tell me that respectfully. But we ain't got to get in the comments and look like no clowns and rat bastards. Because like I said, this is a straight gangster channel. All right, so that's where I'm at. My number up there for whoever want to call. Be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. And we can talk about it as adults, man or woman. Let's keep it moving. But anyway, been on here long enough, right? And like I said, I know that I'm reaching the people that I need to reach. And I'm going to show you a video so you understand where we at. You know, he ain't got nothing to do with this video, this opinion, nothing, because he's in the rap game. But I just wanted to break it down so you can see what it is that, you know, that my peoples, you know, do. You know what I mean? How, the work that I'm doing, if I can find it. I think it's this. All right, we're gonna find it. I just want you to see my different.
What's going on, man? Murder Mook, Harlem. You know what it is, man. I just want to express how much gratitude I got for Unique. You know what I mean? I was telling him a story, telling him how I felt about, you know, if anything was to go wrong with my career, rap-wise, you know, if, you know, should be slow, and I got so many opportunities to be able to do the wrong shit. When I watch Unique Mecca audio, I feel it, and I like to my soul, and that's keeping me farthest away from doing anything criminal. Anything criminal. He made me think straight, honestly. Made me think straight, because I've been watching him for about a year, like a year now, maybe, and it just took my mind way off of that. From a year ago, it got rough. For a year ago,
Yeah.
and from watching this man, I just felt like you saved me.
Hmm.
You saved me. And I just want to show my gratitude, and I want to say thank you, man. Unique Mecca Audio, anything you need, brother, from me.
All right.
Anything you need, man.
All right.
Harlem. Hey, what's going on, man?
I wanted to let you see what it is. And like I said, this video ain't to belittle anyone. It's just to wake up everyone, because we already know that no sunlight, you know what I mean, would definitely wither out the plant, and too much and no water, you know, it would definitely die of starvation, and we don't want you to die of starvation. So that's why we here at the Mecca. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Mecca one.